All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakah Kwadash. Second of all, I want to give double honors to my elders and apostles of Great Millstone, Elder Tahar, and on down that rule well. And third of all, I want to give a peace and safety to the hopeful elect out there, the Christian's truth, the truth of the King James Bible, and our truth and sincerity throughout the four corners of the globe. All right, so I just want to do a short lesson of how below in the spirit of Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai allows it to go. I don't want to name the video. More oil cuts may be on the way. All right. And Lord Will's brothers can see on the screen now this article here from the Zero Hedge, and it says oil pump and dumps on report. Saudi seek OPEC members to cut output. All right. So they've already cut. Saudi Arabia and Russia too, by the way, have already cut the amount of barrels that the amount of barrel. What is it? A million barrels per day. They've already did that cut twice. I forget when the first one was, but I know they said they were going to continue it out to the end of this year. They made one cut before. It might have been in like April, if I ain't mistaken, and they cut the amount of oil that they produce. Again, I think it was in April, and it was supposed to pick it back up. I think in September, but they decided to cut it again into the rest of the year. And also Russia did the same thing. And Biden already came out and said that with the Saudis doing that, it was going to hurt Babylon, which I'm gonna pull that article back up as well. But let me read some of this through Salakia. I'm gonna read some of this right here though. It says, picking up on what the FT report last week, namely that OPEC is considering an additional 1 million barrels per day oil production cut. Moments ago, Bloomberg added some color on the story, and also why the OPEC meeting, which was supposed to take place over the weekend, was delayed when it reported that Saudi Arabia is asking other OPEC members to reduce the oil outputs in a bid to shore up global markets, but some oil producers are resisting. The OPEC leader, which has been at the forefront of what is now dubbed the OPEC Plus, has been making a largely unlimited supply cutback of 1 million barrels per day since July. Okay, it was in July. And now seeking further support from across the oil production cartel. And I think what like 80% of OPEC just joined the BRICS, so more than likely this is going to happen. All right. Lord, well, we just got to wait and see, but more than likely it's going to happen. These other OPEC nations, oil producing nations, are going to cut the amount of barrels of oil they put out. But again, we got to sit back and wait and see. Which again, Biden, I'm gonna pull that article up. It says the oil producing cartel and its partners, mostly Russia, which they also agreed on a cutback, and an anonymous, degenerate source, neglected source, like it. The Bloomberg report goes on to note that Saudi proposal comes amid difficult talks for the producers group, which was forced to delay its policy meeting by 4 days, November 30th, as Angola and Nigeria resist reductions to their own quote limit for 2024, which were set out at the cartel's last conference in July. Some speculate that the international like a conflict may even lead to several members leaving the cartel. Although the last news is that the producers were progressing towards a compromise on this matter before the weekend, but have yet to clinch an agreement. In case any of the 23 nation OPEC alliances forces pressures to intervene in the crude market following the 17% drop in the price over the past 2 months, amid plentiful supply and what Bloomberg calls a darkening economic backdrop, which is ironing since the same Bloomberg keeps so right. So the fact that the price of oil, like Gerald Salente brought out, if the price of oil goes up to like what did he say, like 150, then shit is just gonna pretty much collapse overnight. So right now I think it dropped to like $80 per barrel or something like that, if I ain't mistaken. But they're again expecting it to go up. Bloomberg keep praising the economy when it comes to Joe Biden's policy. Markets could weaken further in 2024 when forecasters include the International Emergency Agency's application as the emergency of a new supply surplus. With Saudi Arabia's voluntary production cut of 1 million barrels per day implemented in the tandem with a 300,000 barrel per day export reduction from Russia set to continue until the end of the year, most analysts expect the dollar or whatever, and that's the name of the dollar, but it's like it, the Riyadh, if I'm pronouncing that right, and Moscow to extend those curves into 2024. So continuing on in that amount of barrels that they produce a day, which will hurt Babylon the Great. I'm gonna pause it real quick. All right, Salaki brothers. But Lord Will's brothers can see on the screen. I have this article here, and it says Biden faces pressure to punish Saudi Arabia after OPEC cuts oil production. President Biden issues a vulgar warning to Saudi Arabia on Wednesday. It was put up October 12th, 2022. This month. It says President Biden issues a warning to Saudi Arabia on Wednesday after the OPEC alliance of oil export nations decide last week to cut oil productions by 2 million barrels per day. Biden pledges consequences and vows to take action, but some Senate Democrats are demanding a swift, concrete response. Lawmakers like the Senate Bernie Sanders and Bob Menendez have put ideas including freezing arms sales to Saudi Arabia, which is the members OPEC, and pulling all U.S. troops out of the country. Right, because this is a big deal with them cutting the amount of barrels of oil they put out per day. Because you don't even know how many barrels of oil the U.S. have in their reserve. Because they give reserves to Europe. All right. It says OPEC moves could push gas prices back up and boost Russian oil. Read that part again. It says OPEC move could push gas prices back up. So you're about to see gas jump back through the roof. It's going down a little bit, but now they're trying to cut the amount of a barrel of oil that they produce a day. All right. It's going to drive the prices back up again. All right. And boost Russia's oil revenue. The national average of gas as of Wednesday was $3.92, up 90 cents since the last week. In the last week, right? So, like the article said, it's going to drive gas prices back up. All right, and again, let me read. Let me get this article too and read this one too. So like it does. This was put up June 8, 2023, a few months ago. Give it a load up. This will drop. People are already on their net complaining about the prices of everything. Gas is kind of going down. Really, they did that for the holiday season because people were traveling and they basically wanted to pacify people. But now that shit probably finna jump back through the roof. This move right here, if Saudi Arabia and Saudi Arabia's already on board, but the other OPEC nations, if they decide to cut the amount of oil that they put out per day, if they decide to do another cut February of next year, then things will get super. We see gas in certain places in America is already like $5 a gallon. All right, it says Saudi Crown Prince threatens major economic pain to U.S. amid oil feud. All right, it says after President Biden vows to impose consequences on Saudi Arabia for slashing oil productions last year, Mohammed bin Salman, if I pronounced it right, privately threatened to sever ties and retaliate economically, according to the classified U.S. intelligence document. Now, what better way than to do that than to start. Well, first of all, cutting the amount of barrels of oil you put out a day. That's one. And then Saudi Arabia officially joins BRICS next year, the first of next year, January 1st. What better way to do that to hurt the U.S. than Saudi Arabia coming out saying, well, we'll still take U.S. dollars, but we're going to take other currencies. We're going to take gold, silver, and certain other currencies like the Chinese yuan. Like they just made a pact to do deals with that a few days ago. Slovakia, they just China and Saudi Arabia just signed a pact to use each other's dollars. So what better way to hurt the U.S. than for them to come out and say, well, we'll still accept U.S. dollars too, but we're gonna accept the Chinese yuan and gold and silver and the Russian ruble also for our oil. All right, we're gonna Slovakia, we're gonna accept those currencies also for our oil. And right now, the whole world hates America because of the situation between the small hats and the in America. When people hated America, the nations hated America anyway before that, but now it's escalated. All right, that hate. So what better way the the so-called crown prince in Saudi Arabia, like he said, Saudi Arabian crown prince threatened major economic. God damn, Slovakia brothers. And Black Friday over, man. Get shit out of here. It says Saudi crown prince threatens major economic pain to U.S. amid oil fuel. What better way to do that than to start accepting other currencies outside of the U.S. dollar for oil, which will destroy the petrodollar. All right. But first things first, cutting the amount of barrels of oil you put out a day. All right. Because like Biden said, that's going to hurt Babylon too. It says last fall, President Biden vowed to impose consequences on Saudi Arabia for its decision to slash oil productions amid high energy prices. Fast approaching elections in the United States. In the public, the Saudi Arabian government defends its actions, politely violating diplomatic statements, but in private, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, if I pronounced that right, threatened to fundamentally after the decade-old U.S.-Saudi relationship and impose significant economic costs on the United States. And again, what better way to do that than to come out and say we're going to accept other currencies outside of the U.S. dollar for oil? All right. If in retaliation, because again, they joined the BRICS, the first of next year. They officially joined BRICS. All right, and we know that the Babylon and the BRICS, well, all the whole beast system and the BRICS system is at heavy odds with each other. All right. If in retaliation against the oil cuts, according to the classified document obtained by the Washington Post, the Crown Prince claimed he would not administration anymore. The document say, and I think Biden was supposed to go to a summit or whatever they got in the Middle East, but he didn't go, probably because he knew that they weren't going to show up. The Saudi Arabian, none of the government was going to show up. All right, or whatever. It said anymore. The document say economic consequences for Washington, which again I believe, and speaking as a man, but what